Love podcasts, hate nonsense. It's the Politics Joe podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo!
I hope the Monday finds you well.
Yes, earlier than usual for us.
Amen. Yeah, early start. And hence, bourgeois liberal coffee.
Don't.
Where was you? Didn't offer me one. I noticed.
We got these individually.
Well, actually, yeah, I walked into Nero and he was on his way out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you've done the exact same thing as me,
Yeah.
so I don't know why you're putting all the blame on me.
Yeah.
Good
Rude, I thought, Ed, to not offer me a coffee.
Well, rude of you to not.
I think
offer
when
me a
I
coffee.
walked into the coffee... Well, you'd already paid for yours.
Right.
So when I walked
No.
into the coffee shop, you should have said, Ollie, let me get you a coffee. That's what I would have liked to have happened.
I feel like I went back. I feel like I went back the other day to get you a coffee.
I think you did, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I think I did.
I think you did.
May I tell you something extraordinary?
Always, yeah.
My flatmate was cooking a paella last night, and from the cookery book, it
Not
said-
extraordinary, yeah.
Not extraordinary. It was described as a Scottish paella.
Okay.
And I said, what makes this Scottish? And he said, in the recipe, it says that in order to save on expense, you use turmeric instead of saffron.
And that's why it's Scottish.
That's why it's Scottish. Isn't that extraordinary? Not much gets my back up.
That's two different flavours there.
Yes, but it's the accusation of miserliness.
Saffron being, having one, and turmeric not really having a
Saffron
lot.
famously being more expensive than gold per gram.
Well, yeah, but you don't need like a fucking pound of saffron.
Not
do
very
you?
much solidarity here, chaps.
Saffron bullion. No. Is the chef Scottish? Does it give them some self-deprecation?
Maybe. I don't know. I
Is
didn't
it,
check.
is it square?
Yes, square saffron.
Sometimes you can, like a ham. You can boil a ham in Coke, for
Yes.
example. So I was wondering if there might be an iron brew component to the paella, which obviously would be also extraordinary and unhinged, but would perhaps have a fairer claim to be Scottish.
There's a paella with an Empire biscuit on it.
Yeah.
That's what-
It's got its own tartan or something.
But very bad look, I would say. Oh, also, just be like, you're tight, therefore you're Scottish.
Yes.
That wouldn't be. I wouldn't even say that's a racial stereotype I have about you.
Not about me, but about Scots in general.
No, I wouldn't have that one either. Yeah, I don't know.
You've never heard
What
that
do we
before?
have? No, I've never heard that.
Oh, no, that is quite a common
That
one.
is
Oh, really?
A
Yeah.
really common one.
I just have dower. That's sort of the only one I have.
Hand in hand, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of dour Presbyterians, Donald Trump.
Should we do a weekend catch up on Ava before we get to Trump? Ava, you okay?
Yeah.
Great to have you with us.
Thanks.
God love both of you. God
Now
love
that we've
Pol
got
Joe.
that out the way.
Yeah. Now we've got that out of the way. Let's talk about Donald Trump.
And now it's time to pray, as per usual.
How is the Holy Father?
Papal.
Yeah, how is Papal?
Yeah, he's all right.
I saw he had an isolated incident.
Do you know what's don't you love the reporting where it's like the Pope got up and he ate breakfast and it's like, good. Oh.
Like an elderly relative.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much news.
There is so much
There's
news.
too much news.
I don't think there can ever be too much news.
I found myself thinking it on, was it Friday when they had the meltdown in the Oval Office?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking, and now imagine if Papal passes, it would be too much news.
I think we'd focus on one more than the other.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh.
What's more significant?
What's more significant?
What we saw happen in the Oval Office, or if the Pope died? You are the news editor
Yeah.
of the Today programme.
Okay.
What do you lead with?
I think you
Oh,
lead
the
with
Pope.
the Oval Office. I think there's been like 1 million popes, and they die all the
Come
time.
on.
They die all
How
the
many
time.
innocents have there been? Definitely not 1 million of them.
How many? What? Sorry.
Innocents.
10 is my guess.
How many what?
Innocents. Pope innocents.
I don't know.
Francis?
Urban. One Francis.
Urban's a
famously.
good one. I like Urban
One
as a name.
Francis.
I think you have to go Pope first on Today. You have to.
What for thought? For
The
thought
Pope
for
is the
day?
same as Pope is the same as Thought for the Day is the worst segment of radio. If I hear that in a morning, it ruins my week.
Does it?
Yeah.
Why do you object to it?
Huh?
Why?
Because it's always some cunt telling you like
Turn the
how
other
to live
cheek.
your life in a way that is totally unfeasible for the majority of
Does it?
people.
Is it always religious? I feel like when I hear it, it's only ever like a bishop.
No, sometimes they'll have like a university like Don or something like that.
Oh, okay. Another thought leader.
Yeah. Yeah.
A
thought-
secular
it's
thought.
leader.
Yeah, a secular thought of the day.
A humanist.
I really hate when the Christians do it. That really, really shits me up. That does.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, where's the fucking Catholic? What's this nonsense?
Well,
They
Catholics-
must have Catholics doing
They
it.
must
No,
have a
when they have a
Catholic
Christian doing it, I said.
Catholic or Christian?
Are Catholics and Christians not the
Catholics
same
and
thing?
Christians.
Do you
Well,
mean Protestant? Or
Sorry, in my head, there's Catholics, and then there's the rest of them.
You do, just to be clear, as a Catholic, you don't believe yourself to be a Christian. You believe yourself to be something separate, i.e., a Catholic.
Sorry, I was just sort of generalising in my head.
Okay,
That's just
got
how
you.
I see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, no, I don't think that the king is the head of my church, and I
Yeah.
think anyone who thinks that is an idiot. Do we want to keep going?
Yeah, well, I think both. I think both can be idiots in my humble opinion, in my secular opinion.
Yes. I'm neither. I've got no dog in the fight.
Like at the coronation, you really
Aspiring
think that
convert.
oil he gets is really like from God? Are you stupid?
I thought that was quite magical.
Did you?
I actually like.
Did it touch you?
I don't know. I think no.
Where there's blame, there's a claim.
I thought
It's getting a bit Catholic, actually.
I thought the imagery
Yeah.
of being like, and now you're a god. It's obviously mental, but mental in quite like a nice way.
Yeah.
In a way that I think the fantasy of it is inspiring.
You fantasize about the king, do you? fella?
No, listen,
Him, Ed, behind that curtain.
kissing the king.
All the world's cameras pointed at us, but they don't know that we're kissing behind the curtain.
That's why it was such a big deal when it was the Queen.
Yeah.
There's a real power dynamic.
Do you think we should get to the Trump thing?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I suppose in a way we're talking about it. Yeah.
He'd love that, to get behind the curtain with the king. Do you think that's what's going to happen on the state visit? He gets to go behind the curtain in the Abbey.
Do you think they'll still do the state visit? Because I saw some people saying it should be cancelled.
Yeah, but what? Yeah, of course they have to
woke
keep to.
liberals.
Yeah.
Come on, wetties. Blowing up that balloon. They've got that balloon pumped up now.
Oh, what, the Trump balloon?
Yeah, they're ready to.
I think there were. I'm pretty sure I saw sections of the British right making the point as well.
What? Like, you mean like the Mail on Sunday?
Yeah, and
Yeah, Stan Hodges was that leader, wasn't it? And well, no, that was Glenn. What's his name?
Hodges has been tweeting Glenn Owen, and Badenoch's obviously come out pretty strongly as well about it.
But sorry, I just find her so funny. 'Cause she's always like 2 days behind the news cycle. Like, what do you think she's doing right now? Do you think she's
fast
just
asleep.
waking
She's
up?
fast asleep. See, when she popped up on Kingsburg yesterday, I was like, oh, what a surprise!
Did you hear what she said? Laura Kuzma says, "Thank you for coming in today," and she was like, "You're welcome." I couldn't believe it. Have you ever heard a guest say before, "You're welcome"?
She should be thanking Laura.
Yes.
She should be, yeah.
Thank you for the slot, Laura. I know I'm very irrelevant now.
I thought she couldn't. I genuinely, my takeaway from that was she came across as exceptionally irrelevant. I thought,
Badenoch.
yes,
Yeah,
I
I
thought
agree.
Starmer did a pretty good job, and then obviously they go to her, and it was waffle. It was unlike Starmer's usual self. He was actually pretty assertive and forthright, and he was quite direct in the way he was answering questions. With like yes, no, etc.
He definitely rehearsed that, hadn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, it's pretty. You would, wouldn't you? What was the Blair line after Good Friday? The hand of history on our shoulders. I think Starmer probably felt the hand of history in a non-Catholic way.
I feel it every
this
day, the
weekend.
invisible hand.
When I go out and buy a coffee,
caressed by it daily.
when I pay my rent,
Engage in the rentier economy.
shaking the invisible hand, kissing it.
Thank you, my lord.
When you watch an ad on this podcast, make sure you thank the invisible hand.
Okay. Well, should we? Do we need to explain what happened on Friday? I feel like everyone saw what happened on
Everyone saw it.
They
Friday.
didn't see what happened on
Why are you
Friday.
watching
Where you
yeah.
been? Where you been?
This is the wrong pod for you.
That's the person who keeps complaining we do too much politics. The person who didn't see that clip.
This is my comedy podcast.
What did you think though? Then
Holy shit.
of the ambush,
That was it.
of the attack on Zelenskyy.
What the fuck's going on there?
Yeah, news. Lots of news, and that's why I wouldn't have been able to handle the death of the Pope because there was too much news happening at that moment in time.
Yeah, but the Pope might have saved Zelenskyy.
We can't go back to Pope.
Sorry,
Sure,
conversation.
We can't. Just
Sorry,
do a
sorry.
loop.
The invisible hand that guided us.
Sorry. Okay, fine.
It led me to the Pope.
It was big news. Friday was a lot of news everywhere.
Wait, we've done that bit.
Yeah.
The Pope, of course.
Tease you up for the weekend. You're thinking, oh my goodness, summit of European leaders, Zelenskyy in London. Christ, it's all happening.
Get the beers in.
Yeah, a couple of beers.
Zelensky's in London.
Get the lads and put on CNN.
I tell you what, that was interesting to me though, because I did put on CNN when the Zelenskyy stuff was happening and when the Starmer stuff was happening. When Starmer was over there, when Zelenskyy was over there, and CNN, they were just doing Gene Hackman when Starmer was over.
You're joking.
Yeah.
You're joking.
Yeah, they were just like, we don't know what's happened. Here's the 911 call from the cleaner. Yeah, because it was. I wanted to see.
That Gene Hackman stuff is mental, though. Good. I'm glad. If I was running today, that would be the lead. That's the 810.
Is it? An interview with Gene Hackman.
What the hell happened?
Someone who knows Gene Hackman.
An interview with Gene Hackman's ghost. What do we think?
About Gene Hackman?
Yeah. Carbon monoxide? Suicide pact?
No, they said it's not monoxide. They did a test.
Oh, really?
Suicide pact then, big time.
No. I think it's, you know that guy who killed that bloke in North Korea? The bloke who died in North Korea.
Yes.
Came back in a vegetative state and
Yes.
they can't figure out what was wrong with him.
Right.
Whoever did that did Gene.
To what end?
Huh?
So do you think
To strike a fell blow against the American empire.
against
brother.
the invisible hand?
Yeah.
Kim Jong-un hated the French Connection and the Royal Tenenbaums.
When the Pope dies and we get a new one, it'll be like, welcome back, Gene Hackman. He's actually just preparing for the role of a lifetime.
Conclave. How did Conclave do at the Oscars? I know Honora did well. Did Conclave?
Boy Who Doesn't Speak
Oh, yeah, wait.
didn't win a thing.
Yeah, right. Tough.
I didn't watch that film because Ed watched it and then came in and told me the entire plot. He just was like, oh, and they just.
Do you remember
listed
when
it
I
off.
asked you to do that?
Do you think that we should talk about Trump?
We really should. We keep veering off, and we actually don't have very much time for this record, so we do need to keep it quite tight, which we're doing a terrible job of so far.
Okay, so Vance really. Do you know who was the most embarrassing in that room, in my humble opinion? Was the boyfriend of Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh yeah.
What was that?
Where's your suit?
Was that who that was?
Yeah.
Oh,
He's like
what
he's a
dick.
blogger.
Don't name him.
All
Doesn't
right.
deserve it.
He's just Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend.
Mr. Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Because that's the only reason he's in that room.
What cunt?
Yeah. Where's your suit?
It's
Do
really.
you even have a suit?
I hate that they're now sleeping their way to the top as well. That was the one thing we had.
That's the invisible hand of feminism.
But this was, and this is kind of what I was saying about watching CNN, and then going to Twitter and seeking out Theo Von to see what he's tweeted about it, and various other sort of people in the cultural sphere to see what they're saying about it, because I felt that the Zelenskyy stuff was very much aimed at the domestic American audience, right? Because
The Rust Belt, you might say.
play into the Rust Belt, were we, brother?
Like the one in Wales.
Yes, the one in Wales.
What was that?
Oh,
Was it the Telegraph?
We're getting off topic again.
No, just very briefly, Politico did a dispatch from Wales and they called it Britain's Rust Belt. Anyway, back to the Oval Office.
It's just Port Talbot.
Yeah. So you're thinking, where's the whole, do you even say thank you? Where's your suit? And these are kind of the talking points of the right domestically in America, whereas obviously, on an international stage and understanding, Zelenskyy says thank you all of the time. He says it off. He actually said it in the meeting. Vance had maybe forgotten, or he was just planning to attack him in that way. And he's a wartime leader, so he wears fatigues in the same way that I think Churchill did when he went over.
Yeah, but Churchill was a right pussy, wasn't he?
I tell you what, I watched The Darkest Hour yesterday.
Did you? God, you really didn't want it.
Well, it's just interesting.
Because they one thing about the Darkest Hour and then back to...
I just thought it was a very interesting
What do
depiction
you think
of
that they
Churchill.
wanted Zelenskyy to do? Do you think they wanted it to be like a Baptist church where you lie on the floor and kiss the feet or something?
I think it was they wanted to get by the curtain and snog him.
Ah.
Do we just give up at this point?
You know all the criticism Trump's been getting for the minerals deal?
Yeah.
Like that the American president should be such a defender of democracy and Western values and that Reagan would have gone in to save democracy. Is Trump just doing the quiet part of American foreign policy loud? Like we saw Americans go in for the war on terror in Afghanistan to save democracy or build democracy in Iraq, come out with lots and lots and lots of oil and money.
Minerals.
He's just going, well, great. We'll have your minerals. Actually,
Wait, do you think he just said it out loud? Like the
100%.
advisors were like, shh.
Like,
Then he
when
just
you-
goes in there and he's like, minerals.
Oh yeah, Mr. Trump actually great. There is these mineral deposits that we would love to get our hands on. Brilliant. We do need a veneer of claiming to love liberal democracy. I don't. I don't love that.
But you say they've got the
Got
minerals.
the minerals.
I think you're right in that the way that America bullies other components of the West and the sort of political and military alignment thereof. I don't think that bullying was as sort of naked and aggressive as what you saw in the, and I think that's why it was extraordinary, because I've heard people as disparate as Alistair Campbell and Tom Swarbrick, who on various times have been involved in those bilateral meetings, either advising Tony Blair or in Swarbrick's case advising Theresa May in a bilat with Donald Trump, and the way they both have said in those behind closed doors they are not conducted in that fashion. That's not to say that America doesn't put its weight around and essentially do what it wants to, but they're not as rude, direct, or as blunt as that is the first thing. But then the second thing I would say is kind of like what did we get out of the meeting before, right? Because the whole Starmer's and Macron have played a blinder. They've gone over there. They've handled him delicately. They've flattered him. They fluffed him with the second state, the historic and unprecedented second state visit invitation. And what did he come back with? Because he was going there allegedly. That the success was going to be security guarantees, right? Security guarantees for Ukraine in order to sign a peace deal, to provide air cover and intelligence for British armed forces that would act as peacekeepers on the ground. Didn't get it. So Trump is kind of not blowing up in the presence of Starmer, although he did have a couple of sort of belittling lines. And he said, you earn your salary. You negotiated very hard over lunch, and said the thing about the accent, which was just kind of funny. But at the same time, it's like, what did we come away with? Yes. Oh yeah, he was like, you got a very nice wife.
Yeah.
But then to be fair to Starmer,
it was weak as anything. I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
The press wrote it up as a massive success, but the bar was extraordinarily low, right? The bar was like, just please don't humiliate us.
Yeah.
Like,
well, they cleared that. That was sick. Like, I think to be fair, am I just always fair to Starmer on this podcast? I feel like every podcast I say just
shit lib.
May I be fair to Starmer?
did you see that Carl Benjamin? His breakdown of us was basically like that we are Blairites and we don't see anything before or after 1997 doesn't exist. We are so Tony Blair pilled. And I wanted to be like, to tell him, but I don't know how to tell him.
He's probably
Like-
watching.
like-
I don't want them to watch.
I'm like, I only say I like Blair because Alistair Campbell's son is on the podcast.
Yes, I'm very proud. But Starmer, like, if this is the series of a series of bilats with Trump, and he becomes the Trump whisperer, like we're still in the middle of this negotiation. It's not a one and done.
Yeah.
He has to go away with Macron and drop this plan, and then they present it in some sort of like PowerPoint to Trump, and maybe they'll do it like The Apprentice. Maybe he'll enjoy that. Maybe they'll do it as like a televised
another
game show.
masterstroke. They're imitating his favourite TV show.
A third state visit for the President Trump, and this one from the Queen.
From beyond the grave.
But like you might. These things are a series of. It will take a long time for this till we see the ramifications of this. I think of like the potential peace process in Ukraine, and is this just the first step? And to have Trump, at least in public, on Starmer's side, is definitely a win. Especially when you saw who he treats.
I don't think he was at all. I think he was just. I'm not even entirely confident he knew who he was.
Yeah, I think you're both right. It's kind of the proof's in the pudding. We'll see what happens and what eventual deal gets struck. Whether or not Starmer can effectively sort of be the triangle between and bridge between them remains to be seen. Between America and Europe remains to be seen, and the whole 2.5% thing as well. He goes to America and says, "Look, Donald, we've hit your spending request, but it's not as we discussed, it's only 6 billion, and because you're folding in those other budgets, you're not getting to 2.5%, and all of the extra uplift is being spent on new material, new soldiers, new bullets, new bombs, drones, etc. You're just via creative accounting, you're now including the intelligence services in the spend. So you're playing Westminster budgetary political games in order to say you've hit 2.5%.
Well, Badenoch showed him up. I don't think she realised she did. She showed him up but at the dispatch box at PMQs, where the Chagos deal is going to be paid for, that uplift in defence spending.
And that was a big thing to come out of it as well, wasn't it, on Thursday? That Trump sort of gave his blessing-ish to the Chagos deal.
Yeah.
And obviously Farage has relentlessly been saying Trump doesn't support it. So that's kind of a puncture for him.
But to be fair, but this is the thing. Tomorrow, Trump could turn around and go, did I say that? I do not recall saying that.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why you kind of, I guess, and that's why I lean into what you're saying, Ed, which is you don't know what's going to happen. So, because he's so volatile and flips backwards and forwards, does what he has to say mean anything? Sorry, I was just going to say it's like media spectacle, isn't it? He said it during the ambush. This makes great television. You see why we kept you here for so long. It was deliberately public and a deliberate row, and I think he enjoys positioning himself, in the centre of that furore. So I
didn't quite see it like that. I didn't quite see it as an ambush.
Really?
No. I thought it was an accident on Trump's behalf. But what do I know? I don't know him personally.
Yeah. The only reason I say that is because they were there for quite some time, nearly like 40, 50 minutes maybe. And Trump kept taking questions. And that to me, it felt deliberate, like he was trying to ramp up the tension. And then obviously Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend says the suit thing. Zelensky's back gets up. And then Vance starts coming in. Zelensky says to Vance, "Can I ask you a question?" Puts the whole, "How can you trust what Vladimir Putin says?" to him. And then Vance, because he doesn't have an answer, because there isn't one, starts attacking him and is like, "You're ungrateful."
I want to get what do you remember what Tim Shipman said Zelensky mouthed at Vance yesterday?
Oh, it was like bitch idiot or something.
Yeah, in Russian. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
just under his breath, and fucking bitch idiot. Or like pussy bitch or something. Like,
yeah.
Which is quite sick.
He did look like Vance looked incredibly stupid. It's very strange to me that a lot of Americans put their faith in him, because I don't think he looks like the archetypal. Okay, right. If you were actually going into war on horseback, right? Say we were like 200 years ago, would I want Vance on the front? No, I wouldn't. I don't know if his size could grip a horse.
Because he's so bow-legged.
Do you know what I mean, though?
He's odds on for the Republican nomination 2028, isn't he?
And he fucking hates Ukraine, doesn't he?
Seems to.
Or I think he said he doesn't care about it at all when he was asked about it last in 2022.
He wasn't well received by the skiing community, was he?
He was not.
I didn't see this. In the note it says, Ava's written, "I will add the video."
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I planned to, but then I just started enjoying my Sunday.
That's so fair.
So, a motorcade pulls into Vermont, and the streets are kind of lined with protesters. I mean, we could put the clip here, and then you could watch the clip.
No.
Yeah, you could watch it in the end of the record. Let's do that. Roll the clip.
Thank you. Keep recording. Ski Russia, because J.D. Vance has no friends in Vermont, but he's got lots of them in Russia, so he should go there for vacation.
There he is, being heckled by skiers, which is probably the way to get to him, to be honest with you. Yes. Shunned by the skiing community.
That's what I'm sure the boy from the mining town.
Vance is a traitor. Go ski in Russia.
Do you know what I liked in Starmer's interview with Laura Kuenssberg? Was when Laura Kuenssberg asked them about why did the king invite Trump to the UK, and Starmer was like, "Well, I can't possibly speak for the king," as it like I love the pretense that the king is just doing this.
I had no idea. That's what the letter said. Like,
it's just embarrassing.
He got in and he was literally like.
Do you think
it's in Keir's handwriting?
Yeah.
Do you think they were miffed that he opened it there and then.
Who? The king?
Yeah.
No.
Who gives a fuck what the king thought? That was perfect for if you were doing like government comms there. That was perfect. He opens it, and then Starmer sort of talks him through it like he's like his elderly relative, doesn't he? Look, Grandma.
Yeah.
I suppose Trump is now like almost 80.
On the Vance thing, he is cozying up to Russia, but why? What are your friends at CNN saying?
I think what you're seeing is a reflection of the realignment or the change in sort of geopolitical strategy between the great powers. And that is, certainly from an American perspective, a rejection of multilateralism, a rejection of internationalism, rules-based order, international law, which actually, for us, provokes a bit of a problem because Keir Starmer's whole shtick is like, we must respect international law.
As is Kemi's by leaving the ECHR.
So you're kind of, I think the reason cozying up to, engaging with, is because they essentially, respect a nation like Russia with a pretty significant economic output, a lot of, strategic resources, raw materials, nuclear weapons, and therefore they go, yeah, we'll just have a bilat with you in Saudi Arabia and we'll sort this out. I think that's essentially what you're seeing here. It's kind of that realpolitik, rather than, we must litigate this through the UN and via the political institutions of the European Union, and the Americans are just like, nah, you're okay.
Yeah, we're going to
pass.
I kind of get that though. I wouldn't want to put anything through the EU. You'd be there all day. Do you know what I mean? They break for lunch every 2 minutes as well.
Does this kind of show the decline of the EU, or why the EU is not fit for purpose in this geopolitical sphere anymore? If things take geopolitics is moving at such a quick rate that you do require a level of nimbleness that institutions like the EU just do not have the capacity to display anymore.
Well, also, you could probably do it with just France and Germany, couldn't you? You could just kick the other ones out.
But you saw the Council of the Summit of the EU of European leaders yesterday. That wasn't an EU thing. They do have the power to do that outside of these institutional
All right,
structures.
here we go. It's Boris Johnson and the vaccines. That's what you sound like.
I guess so.
Yeah, von der Leyen was there, wasn't she?
Yeah, but she'll do anything for a free day out
Turkey and
home,
Canada.
won't she?
Do anything for a free lunch. Yeah, they were there. Yeah, I saw it was like, we've invited European and Canadian leaders. I thought, wasn't there just one Canadian leader? I mean, I don't know if it works quite the same way.
Yeah.
European leaders and one Canadian. It's going to be out soon.
No, but it's because it depends how you consider Canada, right? Like Trump considers Milei the ruler of Canada, right? So he had to be there at the meeting.
The governor. Did you see the loan deal we're giving Ukraine?
Yeah. Nice loan.
They're paying for it with Russian assets that we've seized.
Yep.
Is that plunder?
Macron said the same thing, didn't he, when he was schooling Trump in their press call thing, where he was talking about no, you haven't been given it.
I'm pretty much fingering him as well, by the way. He might as well have been. It was all over him.
But he rested like a hand on his knee.
Yeah, a bit much, wasn't
Essentially fingering.
Yeah.
He's swiveling on it. I don't love that.
Well, I basically fingered you, haven't I? in front of everyone here.
Well, this is going to age rate this YouTube video. Bloody hell.
R-rated.
Bloody
R-rated
hell.
pod.
If you're listening to this in school.
What, in one of the sixth form politics class? Listening
That always
to this.
worries me.
Yeah, I do feel bad for them. I feel bad for the teacher.
I feel bad for the teacher. We should probably start putting warnings on about fingering.
But then I also think I've teacher friends who recommend this to their the children that they teach, and I'm being like, are we cringe? Do the children listen and think,
Oh God,
that's
Chuggy.
crap?
Yeah.
Let us know, children. If we're
Ed, they're soliciting contact from children.
Yeah.
on quite a specific issue. specific and limited
I
issue.
don't care how specific it is, brother.
I don't think that'll fly in court.
Some is
No?
too much. It was very specific. I just wanted feedback on my podcast, Your Honour. You fucking freak.
Outstanding with
You
surveys
deplorable.
outside of sixth form.
We have 90 seconds left
Yes.
before we have a hard out. Is there anything either of you would like to say?
I'd like to plug something.
Ed, please.
5 p.m. tonight, ITV. I'm on the chase.
No way! Is it today? Yes!
Let's go! Ed Campbell on the chase.
Absolutely. 5 p.m. tonight.
Woo!
I recorded it last March.
Yeah, nearly a year
That's why
ago.
my hair is different. I've got different glasses.
We've been in 2 different offices since then.
Yeah, it feels like a lifetime ago. I took the day off work.
Is that Chase water bottle still knocking about?
I've lost that.
Can you...
Did I hide? Is that? I hope that you lost that and I didn't hide that because
Well,
there was
you were bullying me for a bit.
for a little bit.
Back to my
I kept
pigs.
hiding
Did we
his little
stop?
bitch
I didn't
Chase
realise we
water
stopped.
bottle.
I think somewhere in here.
Are you allowed to say what happens?
I'd like them to watch it.
Right.
We can discuss it another time. Whole episode.
Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow.
Okay, great. 20 seconds left. I echo Ed's sentiment. Watch his episode of The Chase. Ava, anything you'd like to say before we hit our hard out?
No.
Well, God bless you both. Our best wishes to Papal.
Papal, thank you.
I'll
Pass it on.
Goodbye. Oh, you're going to applaud?
Bye bye, everybody.
Oh, you. Closing applause.